So there's a question that I'm always asked when I introduce myself as a rugby player. You're playing a game that is predominantly a man's sport. Aren't you afraid? To which I laugh and say that there's no such thing as a man's sport. There's over 2,000 women in this country itself who are empowered through rugby. Sweat dries, blood clots, and bones heal. Why would I be afraid? Looking back now, it's amazing what one can do for something that they're passionate about. As a young girl, I was always good at sport, but I never really thought I was good enough. I'd play basketball and football, and I'd be the captain for my team in school. And I still never believed that I was a great player. Every year around sports day, I'd try out a different field event, manage to place somewhere, and that would be it. I never thought of pushing my capabilities further than that. All of this changed for me in 2015 when a friend of mine called me up and he said, "Hey, Claudia, we've, I don't know if you've heard, but we've just started touch rugby in Goa. We have a girls' team, but we're a little short on players. Would you mind coming and trying out and seeing if you like the sport?" I did go, and I ended up loving the sport. I was mad about the sport instantly. I was playing basketball early morning, football after school, and running to play rugby at the beach in the evening. We switched from the touch version to the contact version of the sport in 2017 and became a part of Rugby India. Now, when I say we, I mean the Goa Rugby Union. So I realize a lot of you might not really know what rugby is. And so for those of you who don't, rugby is a game played with an oval ball in which you can only pass backward on the field. To score, you must put the ball down in the marked try area. And until you do, it is a lot of tackles, rucks, scrums, and mauls. It's 5 points per try and 2 points if you make the conversion kick. It's about the same amount of contact in American football, but without any of the gear. I was so incredibly hesitant when we made the switch from touch to contact. I wasn't sure if I wanted to stand on a field voluntarily and get thrown down by other people. But my friends talked me into giving it a shot just before they left for nationals, and I made the team. And even then, I wasn't sure if that's what I wanted to do. It was our first game in Bihar, my first tackle, that changed my mind. Up until then, I had only thought about someone else tackling me, and the thought of me tackling someone else hadn't even crossed my mind. It was the most liberating and empowering feeling I had ever felt. That tournament changed my mind about the sport completely. I thought I was in love with the touch version, and then I was introduced to this, and I was like, wow, this is it. I love this game. When we came back, I was obsessed. Rugby became everything for me, and I started prioritizing it. I was in my first year in college at the time, and I was a part of the sports council. So for me to find a way to balance my academics with my sport was a little bit challenging, but I was so hell bent on playing that I made it work. I travel over an hour to college in Margao and make sure I was back by 4:30 to make it for training. And my day didn't end there. I was so determined to make sure I was strong enough that I'd go to the gym every evening after that and I'd be there at 8, no matter what. Within a span of 10 to 11 months after we made the switch from touch to contact, a whole bunch of girls were called into Goa for a West Zone camp, after which we were to go to Amritsar and play a 15-a-side zonal tournament, which was another change in the type of game we were playing, which meant learning all over again. That camp put our fitness to the test. It was insane. But that tournament was so worth it. A few of us got selected to go. And It was amazing because we got to play alongside some of the best in the country with the captain, the vice captains, and the ex captains of the Indian team. And we won. So that was the cherry on the cake. The next month was the Indian team selection, and three of us from Goa were selected to go, which we were not expecting at all, having picked up the game only a month ago. We were all nerves, and a month after working really, really hard, we made it through to selection day in one piece. I was really not expecting my name to be called out, and when it was, I got so emotional about it. I had just got selected to play for my country in the first ever women's team selected to play a 15-a-side tournament, something that I didn't believe was possible for myself. So that's my story, and that's how I made the Indian team. It really wasn't all that easy, though. You grow through what you go through has been my biggest motto. I was constantly told that I'm a girl and this is a sport for men. My own parents weren't all that supportive of me in the beginning. My mom would tell me that I'm a pretty girl and that playing rugby put me at a risk of ruining my features and making me a little ugly. My dad would tell me that I might not be as strong as I think and that this is a game for men and that I'm at an age where I should really be concentrating on my education rather than playing so much. I was so close to not making the switch from touch to contact, but I am so glad that I listened to my friends who pushed me out of my comfort zone into something that they knew I'd be good at when I didn't even know myself. It took an entire tournament to prove to everyone else that I was good and that I was strong, and they still had their reservations about me playing. And I really think that is something that fueled my passion and made me want to work harder to prove to everyone else that I am good. And not just everyone else, but to myself that I am good enough and that I have always been good enough. And now, my parents are my biggest support. As much as I complain about having them come to every single game I play, I consider myself lucky because there are so many other athletes and sportsmen out here that don't get the kind of support they need to continue playing. But my parents are constantly pushing me to do better and to be a better version of myself. Rugby, on a whole, is such an empowering sport for a woman to be a part of. It unleashes a great deal of strength and confidence in an individual, and you no longer feel afraid of anything. I have seen myself come out of a shell and grow within rugby. I've learned so much. The kind of respect that you learn to give and receive in rugby is exceptional. You could be playing a game, and in that moment, the team in front of you is your enemy, and you have to do everything possible to defeat them and to win. But as soon as the 14 minutes are up, you find yourself going to hug them and congratulate them and tell them what a good job they've done, regardless of what the outcome is. Rugby has made me the most confident version of myself. I'd never be able to go out and talk on a platform. And here I am today, and I'm comfortable. The women in this sport, they are exceptionally talented, strong, and powerful ladies, and they're capable of anything. We all come from very, very different backgrounds, but when we're at a camp, we're one team. And there's nothing that anyone can say to any one of us that could bring us down because we're there for each other and we will stand up for the other person. Rugby also provides an equal playing field for boys and girls, women and men in sport of all shapes and sizes. Okay. Like I said earlier, There's over 2,000 women in this sport in India. And right now, there's over 2.5 million women in the world playing rugby. I'm going to end by telling you one of the most important things that I've learned because of rugby. It doesn't matter how many times you're knocked down. What matters is how many times you stand back up. And I will get up every time I'm knocked down, and I will get up and be ready to come back stronger and harder, no matter what. Thank you.